Hello, my name is HQ of HQ Reacts. Welcome to my channel. Please do me a favor. Hit the like button, share the stream, and click the notification button for new content.
Hello, everybody. This is the Sunday, one of those easy breezy Sundays, and I just picked a random topic that I wanted to talk about, right? And I had not seen this interview with Erika Kirk. Erika Kirk, she gets a lot of flack, but we really cannot tell what is going on with the young lady just by her demeanor, because we don't know her. We just know of her since she was married to Charlie Kirk. We knew Erika Kirk, right? And I thought it was an interesting subject to talk about, right? She was a kind of a dichotomy. This modern woman, older woman, who meets this younger man, uh, charismatic young man, because he was already into Turning Point USA by that time, right? So he had already been the face of Turning Point. So she met Charlie Kirk, right? And, apparently that set off a whirlwind of relationship. And he knew immediately that she was the one. But I let her tell the story, right? So I really wanted to do this because it was about marriage and family. And I believe in marriage and family. And I believe in people having love stories. And these days, people are always talking about it's so very difficult to find somebody to love, or so very difficult to get involved with people that people always are fighting about falling in love and not being able to find the exact person or the right person. I believe that people need to relax when it comes to relationships and getting involved with people. I hear a lot of people on panels say traditional marriage, traditional this, traditional that. Most of us are not traditional. Traditional marriage, as many people think of it, was built for a very different world. One where strict gender roles, limited options for women, and rigid expectations shape people's lives. Today, our society is different. People look at Erika Kirk and see a modern woman, and people say she's not the traditional woman that he spouted or he touted that he wanted in a relationship. He wasn't the traditional man either. But they were two people who found each other, who wanted to abide by some traditional things and be modern in others, right? People work differently, date differently, and build families differently than they did years ago. So that old blueprint does not always fit the reality of modern relationships. And I saw that when I sort of watched Erika Kirk. People say, she ain't traditional, she ain't this, she ain't that, you know? And I was like, that's not how relationships actually work. Okay, the old blueprint doesn't always fit the realities of modern relationships. And trying to force everybody into that outdated mode can cause more stress and instability. So I see in her a young modern day woman who did some traditional things, but was not totally traditional. She was in New York. She was living on her own. She was doing her thing. Whatever it was in New York, she was doing before she met Charlie, right? So she was an everyday modern day woman. Okay. Most of us have a mix of those traits. Some traditional things, some modern things, some independent, some nurturing. We don't all fit into one box. And just because a person is traditional doesn't mean a relationship is going to be successful. But Erika apparently knew that. She was older, maybe a little bit more wiser. Who knew? But Charlie knew instantly. And sometimes this is how it happens. You fall in love with people instantly. Okay? It's about knowing who you are when you get into the dating market. knowing what you value and which parts of each approach actually help your partner to grow. Erika Kirk is a symbol of what modern day women and traditional women, a combination of the two. Her and Candace Owens is similar. Most women are that combination of women. It just is what it is. Maybe you like traditional loyalty and stability, but prefer modern financial independence and shared responsibilities. Most people do. That's normal. Most couples blend a little of both. And I think that Erika and Kirk did that. I think it's a love story. I think it's a love story. May not be the love story that people think. May not be the love story people would think to get into themselves, but a love story nonetheless. The flexibility is what matters the most, and the idea of being able to be uh, uh, flexible, and the idea of accepting people for who they are when they walk through the door is a beautiful thing. Apparently, Charlie accepted her for what she was. She was older. She was in New York doing her own thing. Okay. So we have a love story here. So when you fall in love with a person, you allow that person to grow, to have personal differences. So we're gonna hear in Erika Kirk's own words, how she met Charlie. Let's see. And see, is it along the lines of what modern day romance is about?
God is not done with America, and our best days are ahead. Every single one of you need to say, God, I am willing. Use me. Use me for your purposes. Liberty is God's idea, not man's idea. Nobody does what we do at Turning Point USA, but it starts with all of you. This is about saving Western civilization.
Sadly, we just started getting word just a couple of moments ago that Charlie Kirk has been shot.
The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry.
The next speaker is a very, very special speaker. She is my hero and the love of my life. Join me in welcoming Erika Kirk.
For over a decade, one movement surged through college campuses all across the country. What started off as a small group of conservative debaters turned into one of the most influential organizations in American politics, Turning Point USA. And the man behind it, Charlie Kirk. Charlie's star grew, but his mission stayed the same: empower young Americans to embrace faith, freedom, and family, and open debate. But everything changed on September 10th. Charlie's death was a turning point for the country. We all remember where we were when we found out Charlie died. And we remember how we felt: sickened, and then resolute. Charlie's gone, but his mission is far from over. Today, the new chapter begins, and his widow Erika is taking the reins. Fox was lucky enough to get unprecedented access behind the scenes with Erika and the whole Turning Point team. They're picking up the torch and carrying a movement that Charlie created. And from here, it's only getting bigger. But to understand how we got here, we have to go back to how it all started. And that's where we begin. My exclusive sit-down interview with Erika Kirk.
Now, she's a modern day woman. I heard a lot of people in the comments say, oh, she doesn't dress modern. She doesn't act modern. Her taking over Turning Point is not really a modern. I heard that a lot. She's the normal, everyday, modern, with traditional values thrown in to be a woman. She's not a trad wife. It's not what she is. She has more things going on behind the scenes than we will ever know. And she has to deal with the fact that she has to raise 2 children by herself if she doesn't get married again. And the man that comes into her life has to at least live up to somewhat of what Charlie was all about. And this is where we're at.
Who was Charlie Kirk?
I can't help but smile when I hear his name or say it. He was the love of my life, still is. Phenomenal father. Incredible man, good friend, very loyal. He had a great dry sense of humor. He built something so incredible, and he was a bridge in our country, meaning he had the gift of communication. He could talk to the younger generations. He could talk to a donor group. He could talk to the President of the United States.
Charlie and Erika first met through their mutual friend, the now...
But this is not about Charlie. This is about Erika Kirk. Charlie is a different subject. We understand that. But this was about Erika Kirk and the meeting.
COO of Turning Point, Tyler Boyer. Erika, a college athlete and former Miss Arizona, had graduated from Arizona State University. She was living in New York City. And Tyler had what he thought was the perfect job for her.
He said, we have this youth organization, would love to get you involved. I briefly met Charlie for maybe 2 minutes. Quick handshake. Hi, nice to meet you. Mind you, I did not know after that brief meeting that Tyler and Charlie had sat down, and Tyler was like, this is the girl that I need to hire for something with regard to the faith component of the outreach that they were trying to start. And he was like, so next time you're in New York, you really should sit down with her. And then that kind of sparked into everything else.
They did end up having that meeting in New York, and what started as a job interview quickly drew the spark that Erika was talking about.
And so then we had a great time, and it was about 15 minutes in, I quickly pivoted away from wanting to hire her to wanting to date her. And now we know how that worked quite well.
He grilled me for hours. Grilling is probably not the proper term, but we debated back and forth. Philosophy, politics, theology, anything that Charlie loved to talk about, we talked about it. And afterwards, he was done eating and he just looked at me and he goes, I'm not going to hire you. And I said, I did not need the job. I said, I was fine with consulting with you guys if you needed anything with regard to help. I have plenty of things going on in New York City. He said, I'm going to date you. I said, you don't want to just be friends for a little bit.
And I told her I had enough friends and that I didn't want to be friends with her. So that was kind of a non-starter, but if she wanted to date, that would be great. I had enough friends. And I think she still finds that to be very funny, but I meant it.
See, he just met her. And he instantly, it was the unexpected connection between them. She didn't fall in love with him immediately. He fell in love with her immediately though. Okay. I mean, it just starts with two people minding their own business, and then life throws them together. That's how people are supposed to meet. That's how people are supposed to date. That's how people are supposed to fall in love. All this predetermined stuff. Well, you got to have this. No wonder the dating population and the marriage population is down to dirt. Because nobody wants to fall in love spontaneously. Nobody opens themselves up. But apparently they did. Apparently she did. They bumped into each other. Somebody decided that they wanted to give her a job. She didn't need the job. She just wanted to meet with him to see what they had to say. And she ran into Charlie. And Charlie was like, yep, she the one. Instantly knew she was the one. Wow. Okay.
And I tried to process that on the walk home and that's when I called my mom. And she was like, oh, are you working with them? Are you going to get a job with them? And I was like, no, but I got a boyfriend. And it was a moment. I literally had to walk home to process everything that just happened because, again, the Lord knew that I needed a man that was going to be so assertive, not play games, not say, yeah, let's just be friends and see how it goes. Let's just talk it out. No, he was so direct. He was so clear. I want to date you with the intention of marrying you.
That's how it's done. That's how it's supposed to be done. I want to date you to see where this goes. Not play games with you, not just sleep with you, not just hang out with you. No, I want to date you to actually see what type of person you are. And Charlie didn't say, "Oh shit, she's a modern woman. She's a modern woman. She living in New York. She doing her thing in New York. I can't date her. She's beautiful, blah blah blah. And she'll never date a man like me. She just got too much going on." He never said that. What he said was, "This was the one. This is the one I'm going to take." Regardless of what her lifestyle was, what her background was, who she was dating, he didn't care. People focus on too much stuff they can't change when it comes to being in relationships, when it comes to falling in love with people. It's just weird. That's why it's difficult for me to deal with romantic, deal with relationships online, talking to people online, because you don't listen. Most people don't listen. They think they need to have an advantage over someone instead of just falling for someone and then having your heart. What's the worst that could happen? Your heart get broke? What's the worst that could happen? But then again, you're sitting on the sideline and you're 39, you're 40, and you ain't never been in love with somebody because you're too scared to get off the bench. There's no, what is that? There's no dignity in that.
He didn't want to waste his time. He didn't want to waste mine.
When did you know you were in love?
He knew immediately. And I knew there was something there. But I, prior to that, was praying that if he was to be my future husband, that the Lord would make it so clear that I would have such a peace about it, outside of it wearing a suit, outside of work-related events. And he just was amazing.
Turning point meant a lot.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to glorify him in any way. He was a human being who had flawed ideas, who had not necessarily racist ideas, but he had a flawed philosophy, and it was more of a white entitlement type deal, not necessarily a racist thing, but it was an entitlement where people these days feel as though because they're white, they're being discriminated against. I know a lot of people feel that way. Oh, well, if you give people DEI, you give people other things, then I'm going to be the person that's left out or affronted. So he had that kind of idea, and not necessarily racist. I don't know. I'm not even going to judge or put it in the context like that anymore. He was just a human being who had flawed ideas and flawed ideologies. It just was what it was. I'm focusing on the romance between him and Erika, though.
Too. This campus was just 2 buildings at the time, but the organization was already well on its way to becoming a force in American politics.
You know, it's funny about leftists on college campuses. They think they're being rebels, yet all their friends are liberal, their teachers are liberal, the music they listen to is liberal, the textbooks they read are liberal, the entire culture they live in is liberal. They're being conformists. If you want to be a rebel on campus, be a conservative on a college campus. There's nothing rebellious about that.
He would just engage with everything. That there was no separation between his work life and his home life. And I was so proud of him. And I would tell him, baby, you don't have to rush home. When you come home, home is waiting for you. I was never the type of wife that looked at my phone and said, okay, you better be home at 5 o'clock for dinner when I have it on the table. Never. I said, home is here for you when you get home. Dinner will be ready whenever you're ready to eat. I will never make you feel guilty for pursuing what the Lord has put on your heart.
Did you know right away that Charlie was destined for something larger than life?
Charlie has a great disposition about him. So I knew that he was never going to be just, he operated, everyone knew this, the way he operated his life, he wasn't going to waste time. He wasn't going to waste the one life that the Lord has blessed him with. When you get married to someone you love, you never think, oh, I mean, at least we didn't, what our future was going to look like. It's not that you sign up for something. You just marry the love of your life, and however that unfolds, it unfolds. And
That sounds reasonable to me. You marry the love of your life. You marry the person that you're in love with. You marry the person that you meet and you fall in love with, regardless of your differences. You know, some things are predetermined. Some things are destined. I mean, if you hang around with all Catholics, or you hang around with all Protestants, or you hang around with all bikers, 9 times out of 10, you're going to fall in love with a biker or a Catholic or whatever. But most people randomly meet, and that was how they met.
We both have very similar understandings, and I knew, obviously I knew his life would be important. All of our lives are important, but all I cared about was loving him and being a wife to him, being a mother to his children. That to me was so much more important. Everything else I could care less.
Charlie was so disciplined. He had his routine.
I know.
He worked out.
He did.
He did his reading.
Yeah.
Are you now stepping into that?
Him and I are very similar from the standpoint of making yourself a better person as life goes on. We all live many lives, and we all are constantly trying, at least Charlie and I, we're constantly trying to improve ourselves. We always worked out. We had the same trainer because him and I were athletes. It always goes back to the basic and simple things. He loved eating clean. He loved all of that stuff. But something that was so powerful about Charlie is that he mastered self-control. He mastered.
I think it's the look. I think it's her eyes. I think it's her eyes that don't seem to come across as having any feeling in them. I think that's what it is. A lot of people feel like she's cold, and it's the color of the eye, and it's the dead stare, which is really weird. And I get that, but I mean, nobody can know how she really feels. Nobody can know the insides of the workings of a relationship or a marriage. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised within 2 or 3 years that she finds herself a husband, or she finds somebody that can, sort of carry the mantle. Hopefully it's not anybody in Turning Point, because they probably won't accept it. But, somebody at least decently available, maybe somebody quieter. Who knows? We don't know.
He would say, know your nature. He mastered that. He perfected that. From the standpoint of, yes, he was very hard on himself. I have the journals to prove it. Very hard on himself. But he held himself to such a high standard because he wanted the people that were around him to be better also. He wasn't going to be a leader that told people what to do and not do it.
He worked so hard.
He did.
He was the hardest working person in my business I've ever seen. Was that?
You notice he said in my business. And people try to glorify what Charlie Kirk was. Charlie Kirk was a speaker on campus. He was a podcaster. This is what he was. Who had influence, but he nevertheless, it was still a podcaster, and he still was a news person, or a podcast, or whatever you want to call him. He wasn't any more than that. He was just an influencer. I mean, there's a lot of influencers that are even bigger than he was, because I didn't know him, right? I didn't know him. I knew Joe Rogan. So Joe Rogan had to be bigger than Charlie. Maybe not as much influence, but bigger in terms of people knowing him. We're not glorifying Charlie Kirk at all. We're looking at his wife and the relationship that they had together. Okay, Charlie Kirk was what he was. He was a racist, homophobic, if that's what you say, and a sympathizer. It is what it is. I'm focusing on her.
Hard for you guys to balance that work and the family?
So when we first started dating, and when we were first married, we would travel everywhere together. We were on the road 350 some days out of the year. And then once we had our first child, it was an adjustment period, because I wanted to be home with our little one. But he was so good about always wanting to come home. Always wanted to come home. And I wanted to make sure that he wanted to come home. Again, that's why I never said, what are you doing? Why are you gone? Why are you traveling so much? I never had those questions, because I knew his heart, and I knew what he was doing was so important. And he always included me in it. And there were times where I would go to his events, and there were times where I wouldn't, but it was a family-oriented mission. So,
And that was a good thing. This marriage was a solid marriage. And it was a beacon for people who want to get married. I mean, they started out well. They got married. They waited for a couple of years, then they had children. This was a solid relationship, and it probably would have lasted a very long time. I don't know how long they were married, but it could have lasted a long time. She was older, and you hear people say, "Oh shit, you can't marry no older woman, and you can't marry no old woman, and blah, and a woman who's single and who's been out there." See, this is the garbage that people are being fed. A lot of people are being fed this kind of garbage. You can't date a woman who's been out there dating. You can't date a woman who's older than you. You can't do, and that's why half of y'all are alone. That's why a lot of y'all are alone, because you picked up on these talking points that you found here, and these talking points are just talking points. They have nothing to do with the real world. And you can't balance life out with ratios and averages and whatnot. Oh, well, if I go here, maybe I'll do that. If I go here, maybe I'll do that. Spontaneity is the name of the game. And her and Charlie met spontaneously. Never thought she would fall in love with him. He fell in love with her first. And then this is how their romance started.
I never once was threatened by that because I was a part of it.
He wrote you letters. Charlie wrote you letters.
I know.
Every week?
Every Saturday. So he would turn his phone off to honor the Sabbath. He would come in, open the junk drawer. Everyone has a junk drawer. Open the junk drawer, said Shabbat Shalom, put it in there, turn the phone off, slam the door. And he felt so free because he was unreachable for 24, 48 hours.
Did you see Charlie change in the 7 years that you knew him? How did he change?
When he became a father, and you know this, when you become a parent, it changes you. When you become a husband or a wife, it changes you. I mean, being on the altar and making a covenant with the Lord and saying, this is my person, it changes you. You become one. Everything becomes one. Nothing is separated. And it was just powerful because I got to see him grow, not just in wisdom. He read a lot of books, wisdom, but he grew in patience. And you can see that on campus too. You see the evolution of him going from holding the mic all the time to then putting it down, taking a sip of his tea, throwing in a throat coat, and just listening. You could see how he evolved into this incredible man who he mastered himself.
He became more tranquil as he grew older.
He did, and that was it.
There's some beauty in there. There's beauty, and then there's a relaxation in a person. When they find their person, and they find their groove, and they find their purpose in life, the marriage, the right person, a person that's on the same wavelength, the same in tune with the same things that you are. I mean, there becomes a relaxation. And maybe he met that threshold, and she gave him that peace that he wanted. I mean, you could tell from the way he, touched the children, that he was very much into his family. He wasn't that. We can't really tell about her because I can't really tell, she's talking about him mostly, but through some of the words I can tell that she admired the man, she admired him greatly. She did.
A huge testament to his faith because he realized more and more, this is not about Charlie Kirk.
Is there one thing that you know about Charlie that no one else knows that you want to share?
Okay. So he would name all of my daughters and my son's stuffed animals, every single one of them. His favorite animal was the platypus. It's so random, but it's so funny because it was such a utility animal. And it's not even an animal you would think of. And I remember when I went to the San Diego Zoo with my daughter, and we found the platypus shirt there, and I had her put it on, and Charlie was like, how did you find that shirt? And I was like, we just so happened to go to the zoo and they had a platypus. He was blown away.
I'm glad we didn't embarrass him too much there.
Yeah.
We saw these clips go viral afterwards about him being a father.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at some of those.
Okay. fun. That was a great guy.
So we're here at Bill's Burgers in New York City. And right near this very table was the first time that I met Mama. And it started as a job, and I was asking all these questions, philosophy, religion, Jesus.
So fun. He was so fun.
What kind of relationship did he have?
I just don't like the way I never see the tears from her. That's the only thing I don't like. The tears. You never see the tears from her. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt that she loved him. I'm going to give her that. But I don't see the tears about her. Maybe, you know how people, wait a minute, how do I explain it? Sometimes people can love you to the depths of their soul, 100%, and then some people can only love you so far because they're incapable of loving people to the 100%, but they are capable of loving you to the 70%. I think she loved him to the 70% and not necessarily to the 100%. I don't know how to explain it, but it is what it is.
With each child?
When you ask that, I can't get this image out of my head of, this feeling too, where
she's far from perfect, Oscar. She's not that. She's far from
you see your husband come home.
Let's not put her on a pedestal.
Or you as the father come home and the kids just run to you. His relationship with them was so precious because they're so little. So it's not like you're teaching them these amazing things, but somehow he's still found a way to incorporate it in little ways. But his relationship with them was so pure and precious because you see him being on stage in front of thousands of people, commanding the presence, telling them all about Western civilization, telling them all about what's going on in the world, telling them why they should care. And then you see him come home and just be a dad. Go play with them in the pool. Love on them. Tickle them. Play with them. Like, even if it was just with his stuff.
But isn't that amazing that he was he drew such perfective. People thought he was so perfect, and yet some people thought he was such a reviled human being. The thoughts and his obsession with DEI and XY, and they found him a repugnant human being. How do you make that leap from being this perfect to being reviled by some people? Half people can't stand you, but the other half love you. How does that happen? He either had to be his true self, his true motivations. I'll leave it to the end what I really think about Charlie Kirk.
The animals. Play with them.
What do you see of him in
the kids? It's funny because my son loves to throw balls and baseball bat and footballs. And my sweet daughter, she's starting now to want to say little speeches. So we all are sitting there to listen. But you know what's so sweet is that my daughter's starting to want to put our son to bed at night in his crib. And so it's very meticulous of how it's done. So it's a little bit Charlie of like making sure that it's the right rhythm. And we put him in the crib, and then I say, okay, mommy's leaving. And she sits there, and I just watch her on this video of singing Jesus Loves Me to him. And that's the song that Charlie would sing to her. Never said, okay, now you need to sing that to your brother. So I feel like it's little moments like that where I'm like, that's you, Charlie. That's you. You're there. Yeah.
You're very protective of your children's privacy.
Yes.
As Charlie's profile grew,
Mm-hmm.
Were you concerned?
We live in a day and age where the internet feels so entitled to everything. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Explain this, explain that. And we live in a world where children don't even have a childhood anymore. Why are you posting a photo of your kids so that you can get $50 off a stroller? That does not make sense to me.
Crazy.
If you can't afford a stroller, buy one you can afford. That makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
But to use your child or a photo of you standing in the bathroom embracing them specifically, and you have 500 copies of that same pose so you can get it right for social media is bizarre to me.
Right.
And it was to Charlie too. And our babies are not for anyone else's viewing other than ours.
You notice that every time they posted a picture of their children, it was always the back of the children. It was never the front. I admired that about that particular aspect. I noticed that instantly. You never saw the children's faces. Very rarely did you see the children's faces. They were always off camera. Their back was always turned. So they always protected their children. That's an admirable quality. I mean, they did mostly everything right. I'm assuming everything right. I don't know the inner workings of the marriage. Nobody knows that. But the outward appearance is that they did all the things that were right and correct. Not necessarily right and correct for every human being, because we're all different. We all have different pulses, and we have all different choke points, and we have all different things that turn our stomach. So their life may not have been my life, or their life may have been something else. But I mean, for all intents and purposes, they did protect their children, which was a good thing. You know, she really does come across as really off to me, but I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt.
In our family. And why would I want AI images of my children out there? Why would I want, and yeah, we get kidnapping threats. We always have. We get death threats. We always have. You're just smart about it. Protect what you love. Protect who you love.
I want to show you a video of Charlie talking about TPUSA.
Okay.
Well, you're about to embark on something that is much bigger than yourself. This is about us. This is about the country. And the eyes of the whole nation are again on Turning Point. We're building something bigger than you, bigger than me. We're building an experience to help save the country. And if this type of intensity bothers you, well, then don't go work for Turning Point USA. You can go work for the Department of Labor or something, okay? Because here we do excellent things. We do big things. We make history here at Turning Point USA. It's going to be early mornings. It's going to be late nights. But you all get to know that you're doing something rewarding. That is not just, a career, you check the box. But lives will be changed. I mean, how blessed are we that we get to be here celebrating the country, and this is our job. It's pretty awesome. There's the one thing that I hear from speakers throughout all the years. Your team is so impressive, and they're so young. Why is it, everybody? Because for us, we hold ourselves to a higher standard. This is not just another DC gig. This is about saving Western civilization.
It's the longest video I've watched of him. Just give me a second.
Take your time. Charlie was on a mission to save Western civilization. Did you know that's what you signed up for?
Well, no, I didn't sign up for anything. I just married the love of my life. Just so happens that that's what he was doing.
Tell me about the day before the shooting.
He was at the office, and we were going to meet for dinner beforehand with a dear friend of ours who I wanted to just be with us and pray with us before the event. It's no hidden secret that stuff on campus is heating up. You see people on campus coming on with guns prior to the event that happened with Charlie, the assassination with Charlie. And so
please like, share, and subscribe, please, to the channel. We like to have this kind of content daily. Positive, inspirational, newsworthy, all types of things come from this channel. I'd appreciate the like and the subscribe. Hit the like button, please, and thank you. Hit the like button, please, and thank you.
So I know that, you and I even talked about how I used to say, Charlie, have you ever thought about wearing a vest? He would nod to that and be like, I've looked into it. But he would always say, if they're going to get me, they're going to get me. He wasn't afraid. Wouldn't have mattered anyways if you wore a vest.
Erika's mom was dealing with a medical issue, so she stayed in Phoenix to care for her. She planned to join Charlie at the next scheduled Turning Point event at Colorado State just a few days later.
I thought she was there. I thought she was there, and well, thank goodness she wasn't there. I thought she was there when he got shot. I wasn't sure, hadn't heard, but now we know she wasn't there.
He was like, home needs you. Home needs you. Be home. Come with me on Thursday to the next event we have. And so for him that night, he was so excited. I mean, he just was like, I can't wait. It's going to be the best. And he got up around 2:45, 3-ish to go into the kitchen to grab a snack. And our daughter had woke up around that same time. We live in a small space, so you can kind of hear when everyone's kind of shuffling around. And so she came to our room and she stayed in our bed. And he always loved when Gigi slept in our bed because she's, little ones, they like curl up inside of you and like they're just nuzzled in. But you also know that it can be very acrobatic when a 3-year-old is in your bed and somehow their feet end up on your face. So I said, I want you to have a good night's sleep. Go ahead and sleep in her room. And I'll turn the air down so it's nice and cozy in there. And I just want you to get a good night's sleep so you can be amazing tomorrow. And so Gigi and I stayed in our room. And that morning he woke up super early and he came into our bedroom, into the bathroom, because that's where his wedding ring was and his necklace. And he came in and he grabbed that. And then he left. I didn't even get to give him a kiss goodbye.
When we return,
he was at peace. And I gave him a kiss. One of the hardest moments of my life was leaving him in that room.
First time I've ever called her during a campus tour.
Within seconds.
I called Erika. I just remember it rang like 3 or 4 times. I didn't know what to say. Those are the words that will change someone's life forever, and you have to be the one to say it. That was the first time I've ever called her during a campus tour stop.
And so Mikey called me, and I'll never forget him just being like, Charlie's been shot. He's been shot. Get the kids. Get security. Get the kids. Get the kids. He's been shot. I sprinted out of her treatment center. I just collapsed in the middle of the parking lot. I called our security. Yeah. Unbelievable nightmare.
The communications director of Turning Point USA has asked our team to give a moment of silence and prayer. And so we are going to do that right now. We're going to pause and offer our prayer. We hope you join along.
He literally blinked and probably thought he was raptured and looked around and was like, where's everybody else? He blinked and he was with the Lord.
And you wanted to see Charlie immediately and came up. Take us through that.
We landed in Utah, went straight to the hospital. When you walked in, everyone was it was a scene from just a horror movie. Everyone is so rattled to the core.
I'm gonna say that this probably had to be one of the most difficult things that she had to do, was to walk in there and see her husband without life in his body. I'm gonna give her that grace, right? We gonna give her that grace, because that's one of the hardest things that you have to do as a spouse, knowing it's unexpected. The death is unexpected, and you have to go and you have to see for yourself or validate it yourself. I'm going to give her that grace, that this is her husband. I'm giving it to her.
Officers, law enforcement, hospital workers, our team, everyone is just shaken. And we get into the room. One of the law enforcement guys comes in. It's very sweet, but what do you say to someone whose husband just was assassinated so publicly? I said, I've been doing this for 30-some years. He said, I will never tell you that you cannot see your husband. he said, but I, in my professional opinion, think that you should wait to see him once he's at the mortuary. Because I don't think you want to see him like this. The room got quiet because half the room knew it's probably a good idea. And the other half of the room was like, there's no way she's listening to you right now. And I responded back to him and I said, with all due respect, sir, I said, I want to see what they did to my husband. And I want to give him a kiss because I didn't get to give him a kiss this morning. And I said the same thing to the doctor. When the doctor came in, I said, I want to see my husband. He said, I'll make sure that happens. And I did. And I got to see him. And when we walked into that room, he still looks so alive. I mean, because he just, and I'm just so glad I saw him, because you know this, when you see someone pass at the mortuary, they never look the same when they're at the mortuary. They have this awful makeup and they're cold, and he was still warm and his eyes were slightly open. But, you know, it was so powerful, Jesse. He had this smirk on his face. It was so sweet. He had this smirk on his face where it meant three things to me. First, that he died doing what he loved. The second was that he was at peace. And I gave him a kiss. Gave him a kiss. And then before I left the room, which was one of the hardest moments of my life, was leaving him in that room. Excuse me. I looked at him and I thought to myself, that smirk to me is that look of, you thought you could stop what I've built. You thought that you could end this vision, this movement, this revival. You thought you could do that by murdering me. You got my body. You didn't get my soul.
Do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
By that time, the video was everywhere. How do you process that?
I never saw the video. I never will see it. I never want to see it. There's certain things you see in your life that you can never unsee. There's certain things you see in your life that mark your soul forever.
I feel the same way. I never saw my husband's body. I couldn't do that. I could do a lot of things, but I could not do that.
I don't want my husband's public assassination to be something I ever see. I don't want my kids to ever see that. And for people who actually enjoy watching that, which is quite literally sick, what if that was your father or your brother or your sister? There's a perspective shift there. We're human. Life is fragile. And there is so much beauty in this world. Why would you waste any portion of your life looking at something so evil?
Charlie was answering a question about trans violence when he was murdered. Do you think that was a coincidence?
I don't believe in coincidences.
Do you think they've caught your husband's killer?
So, something I'm so grateful for is that we have one of the most incredible teams for this case. I would never wish it upon anybody to have to go through what we are going through. To have seen the autopsy report, to have seen the different evidence portions that have been collected. I trust our team.
There's other theories swirling around about Charlie's assassination.
Right.
How does that make you feel?
When everything happened, my phone died and became a black hole. I just didn't turn it on for weeks on end. I've intentionally insulated myself because I need to guard my heart, and I need to be there for my kids, and I need to be there for Turning Point. And what I've realized through all of this is that everyone grieves differently. Everyone is trying to figure out, and I don't blame them, how does this happen? How does somebody become so radicalized where they can justify this in their own head? We just lost one of the greatest voices of our generation. Why? How? What's behind it? Like, everyone's trying to process this. And I respect that. But where my heart is just asking for some grace is for the ones who were there that day. They have to relive that every single day. He didn't die in a car accident. He didn't die from cancer. He was assassinated. And the difference between this and...
You notice that he asked her, do you believe that they have caught the killer? She said, I trust our team. She didn't say, I believe you guys have the right killer. She said, I trust our team. That's all she said. You notice what she did. And the minute, and Candace Owens is one of the most outspoken ones regarding, what happened to Charlie Kirk. She said specifically, Candace Owens said, the minute Erika Kirk calls me and says she doesn't want me to continue to do this, I will stop. That minute. The minute Erika Kirk calls me and tells me to stop, I will stop. That's what Candace Owens said. Now, has Erika Kirk stopped her? Has Erika Kirk called her up and told her to quit? Not that I know of, because Candace keep going on with what she doing. So she heard her. What this? If Candace and her, if Candace was such good friends with Kirk, why wasn't Candace good friends with Erika? That's something that's weird too. If Candace was such good friends with Kirk, why is it that she didn't really, she wasn't at least halfway on cordial talking? She wasn't on cordial. She wasn't on the level to call Erika Kirk up and talk to her about this. Why wasn't she at the Turning Point funeral? Candace wasn't at the Turning Point funeral. What happened there? If they were such good friends, see, this is all weird shit that's all behind the scenes. Everything about this ever since this president became president, it's been weird shit after weird shit after weird shit. And the weird funeral that they had for Charlie Kirk was even weirder. That's just even weirder. So I was like, okay, so why wasn't Candace Owens invited to the funeral? So she wasn't invited to the funeral, but she was good friends with Charlie. So, but if she was good friends with Charlie, then that should have been the end of it. I'm one of those people, if you're good friends with my husband, I don't have to like you, but I knew you loved my husband or cared for my husband, I would have invited you to the funeral, even though, me and you might not get along. And there's there doesn't seem to be any kind of animosity between them, but just the standing that you weren't at the funeral and you saying you're the best friend, something is weird, or you were good friends is weird. Something weird is about that. I don't know. Just my thought.
Previous assassinations in this country, there was no social media. There was no AI. I can tell you how many fake images are out there of all of this. And again, my only request is that just please pray and consider and think about whatever you put online, because it's going to impact his kids in the future. I don't want my kids to go on the internet one day when they're older and see things that it's just, we're all trying to process this in their own way, and I appreciate that. But just some grace would be nice.
Do you feel safe?
I do. What are they going to threaten me with? Going to heaven sooner to be with my husband? And I don't say that to be reckless. I do not. I do not say that because I'm out in the streets. Like, here I am.
Wait a minute. What is who gonna threaten her with? She wasn't in the limelight, so why would she be worried about somebody coming to get her? She wasn't the person that was out front talking, so why would they even come for her? Why would she even worry about what happened? Why would she even worry about getting murked? Why would that even cross her mind? They weren't after her. They went after Charlie. Why is she not worried about something? What? She gets death threats too? What?
Find me. And it's not at all. It's a fearlessness that's rooted in the understanding that I will have my day and my time, whenever that is. When the Lord knows that I've completed my mission. And I'm not afraid. Charlie wasn't afraid either. We never lived in fear. If we did, we wouldn't get anything done. And I can't help run alongside this mission of Turning Point USA and raise my babies with fear. I can't. That's not a life to live for anybody.
What's the hardest part of your day?
The nighttime, always. I'll tell them about my day.
What Democrats wrote what harsh stuff about her? I'm confused. You mean the harsh stuff she's getting from both sides? The harsh stuff she's gotten in this comment section from both Democrats and Republicans, saying she's not really grieving? Don't put that all on Democrats. It's a lot of you Republicans out there saying crazy shit about her too. Don't do that. Don't put that all on Democrats.
I talk to him all the time. But the nights are the hardest. Being in a bed by yourself.
Y'all are weird. You maggots are weird.
Rolling over, trying to goodnight kiss that's not there. It's, and anyone who's a widow knows what that means. How painful that is. Excuse me.
I think they told her behind the scenes, because you don't cry, because you're not showing any tears, then people don't believe you. She got burnt from both sides, Republicans and Democrats, because they never saw the tears. Those are tears on her face right now. She has tears on her face. I'm saying previously she didn't have tears on her face. So she was getting slapped from both sides. Okay? It wasn't just a Democratic thing. It was a Republican thing and a Democratic thing. She was getting roasted by everybody.
It's so easy to take the little things for granted. But you know what's so interesting? I was thinking about this the other day. It's so easy to be in a position of feeling regret when you lose someone you love. And I tried to read a book by C.S. Lewis because he lost.
Are you serious? Are you serious? Oh, where are you serious? As racist, as misogynistic, as Islamophobic as Republicans are, why the hell would a Democrat, why the hell would a black person be over there? Y'all don't stand for nothing as Republicans. You don't stand for shit. You hate gays. You hate trans. You hate immigrants. You hate blacks. You hate browns. Why the hell would somebody black be over there? That's just dumb as hell. I'm black. Ain't no way in hell you gonna get me over there with y'all being as racist and misogynistic and xylophobic as you are in the Republican Party. Y'all don't stand for nothing. You don't come over here talking about Democrats are dumb. They dumb for being over there with you all after all the leaked emails, after all the bullshit that Donald Trump has said, after all the bullshit people defend over there, all the shit that apparently people think Charlie Kirk said. Don't come over here talking about Democrats dumb. You mean Republican? You mean black people who go over there on the Republican side? It's stupid if they fucking hear that kind of shit and still be over there. You crazy as hell. That's why people over in the Democratic Party, because they know how racist you are over there as Republicans. You weren't one of those people that heard those emails that got leaked. You ain't never heard of Nick Fuentes? Shut your ass up.
The love of his life. He was only married to her for 4 years. It's called A Grief Observed. It was a very hard book to read. Not because it was about grief, but because in the opening pages, he talked about how angry he was with God. And I've never felt that.
Don't nobody give a fuck if you allocated $2 billion to HBCU. You didn't allocate $2 billion to HBCU because you like black people. Shut your ass up.
Never happened.
No, you ain't heard me say not one goddamn thing that was racist. Not one goddamn thing. I said your party is racist. Our party is not racist. You're the one. The first thing out of your mouth when you maggots come over here is I can't stand trans, gays, immigrants. That's racist. That right there is all the hatred people need to hear. All the hatred that people need to hear. You don't never hear people on the Democratic side say, I can't stand gays. I can't stand trans. I can't stand immigrants. I can't stand. You don't never hear Democrats say that. You always hear that on the Republican side. Stop it. So that's your side. That's racist and have a problem. That's your side. That's not my side. And ain't no black person that got sense or got a noggin on their head would be over there dealing with you all, calling people names, saying you can't stand gays, trans, brown people, or black people. You all say that stuff. First thing y'all do is come in the chat room talking about I don't like the gays or the trans. You'll never hear no Democrat go into a room and say that. Ever. So stop it.
Never have I questioned, why, Lord, are you putting me through this? Why are you testing me? Why are you? Because God is so good and he's so sovereign. And I know he uses everything, even what the enemy meant for evil.
Every time you all go into a chat, the first thing y'all say is, I'm not going to be a Democrat because they like those gay people. They like those people in the bathroom. They don't know what a girl is. They don't know what a woman is. Those immigrants need to leave my country. We always hear that from you Republicans. You don't hear that from no white people. You don't hear that from no Democrat. You always hear it from Republicans. Y'all don't know what a woman is. Y'all don't know how to keep people out of sports, those men's out of sports. We know what men are. Y'all got to get those people out of our country. They taking our job. We hear that from you Republicans. Stop it. So don't say nothing about Democrats. It's Democrats doing it. We don't do that over here as no Democrat. Y'all do that on y'all side. So you ask why black people are over in the Democratic Party? It's because we don't do that over here. We mostly accept everybody over here. Y'all the one who got the limited view on who you want to accept. Stop it.
And I have no regrets. And I think that that's why processing this for me is probably different than most, because people say, how can you do all what the other you do? And it's because I loved and still love Charlie.
Did you watch the news after the assassination? Because there were some people saying that Charlie deserved to die. Mm-hmm. Charlie had it coming.
There's so much beauty in life. I don't know why.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'll open the cage for the goofy people to come out. As you can see in the chat, they're asking all kinds of weird-ass questions. Goofy, only the goofies is over here asking the weird-ass question. What's a woman? What's a man? Y'all like people in the bathroom. What's Mexican? What's the Chinese race? Just goofy shit. It's only Republican people who do that shit.
Why you would waste your time saying somebody deserves to be publicly executed in front of everyone.
Hate to hear it.
That's just, why would you say that? Again, that could have been your parent, your spouse, your
I'm a dumb
loved one.
Get the fuck out of here, Tony.
You think it's funny
Get the fuck out of
until it's someone you love?
Don't come back.
I would just ask them to really
trash ass MAGA. The hell wrong?
Reassess their priorities in life.
We're over here having a conversation about Erika Kirk and her husband. Then you get some idiot coming to a chat talking 2-point crazy. I don't like to talk 2-point crazy, but I will. I'm not having a conversation about Democrats and Republicans. I'm having a conversation about Erika Kirk and her loving her husband. You need to respect that. But you come over here and say something dumb about black people don't need to support the Democratic Party, and then we hear and then we run into bullshit like the emails that were released a couple weeks ago. What Trump says, what this young lady's husband used to say, nobody is going over there that shouldn't be over there. That's why the Democratic Party is supported by black people. Because it's a coalition of all races and all people. That's the whole point. You all don't seem to want to accept that. You all want us to be something other than that. You all don't want us to accept everybody. That's your problem. Keep your shit in your own backyard. But you never see a Democrat walk into a Republican space and say, I can't stand those gays and all that, those gays or those trans, or y'all don't know what a woman is. You don't never hear no Democrat come over there and say that. Or men and women in men's sports, you never hear no Democrat come out their mouth and say nothing like that. So don't come over here talking like that and expect a nice reception from me. Because I believe in accepting every person for who they are. We all deserve to have a place and a space on this planet. And for all intents and purposes, the Republican Party doesn't want to accept people for who they are. They just want to accept them as white Christian nationalists, and they want to be X, Y, and Z, and that's all they want in their party. So if that's all you want in your party, don't be mad at the coalition over here that we got things going on over here where we accept all people. Don't be mad at that. Stay over there in that white Christian nationalist party that you want. Black folks ain't welcome over there. That's the way we feel. That's the way most black people feel, that they're not welcome over there. So since you're not welcoming for us to come over there, I can't help that. I can't help that.
They get a high off of watching someone be murdered.
Jimmy Kimmel lied about your husband's murder and didn't really apologize.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to Jimmy Kimmel?
Same thing I told Sinclair. They asked. I haven't really told anybody this, so they asked, do you want Jimmy to give you an apology? Do you want to be on his show? How can we make it right? Through our team, I responded. I said, tell them thank you. We received their note. This is not our issue, not our mess. We are grieving, and we have an organization to run. My husband never told people what to say. You do what you think is best and right, and I prayerfully wish you the best. But I will never ask someone to give me an apology that they don't genuinely mean. That's between you and the Lord. If you want to say I'm sorry to someone who's grieving, go right ahead. But if that's not in your heart, don't do it. I don't want it. I don't need it.
Where are we going now?
He acquired and purchased all these buildings. This is the final building.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Everyone's sending.
We're not saying that we're all about being gay or trans. We never said that. What we said is we leave people to be in their own goddamn bedroom. That's what we do. Democrats leave people to be in their bedroom. I'm not worried about whether you're gay or you're trans or anything else. That's your party that worries about gay and trans people. Your party that's worried about people getting indoctrinated It's your party that worries about that. My party doesn't worry about that. I'm not saying they don't care about gays or not. I'm saying my party doesn't want to run into somebody's bedroom. Okay? We're not worried about that. And when black people can vote whatever, stop it. Stop it. We already know who voted for what. The whole point is the Republican Party is losing people in droves. The independents, the Hispanics, and the blacks. Because they cannot stand the wacky behavior that is going over there. That is going on over there. And the hypocrisy that is going on over there. Okay? I'm a sane moral person, and I don't give a shit about LGBTQ agenda. And I don't believe it's being pushed off on our children. I believe the whole point of is to accept people for who they are. That is what it is. Sure we do. Sure we do. This is goofy talk. And I don't have time to talk to goofy people.
All of this here, they received tens of thousands of letters, cards, gifts, personal Bibles.
That's the problem. Your party wants people to think like you all. Everybody let's all shun and hate the gay people. Let's all shun and hate the LGBTQ people. Let's throw them in a corner and not like them. That's just wild to me. And then you expect people to go over there. That's the whole point. Nobody's going over there. Nobody wants to go over there. You've got made it an aversion. You made it unpopular to be Republican. Made it unpopular to be on the Trump side. You've made it unpopular to be a MAGA. Everybody is turning away from that philosophy. Okay? We can see the drag that it's having on our country. I don't know about you gays. I don't know about you immigrants. I don't know about you black. I don't know about you black. You seem to be malfunctioning. I'm perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine. Healthy, fine, the whole nine.
Paintings and more.
A lot of this is from when people came to the campus, the Turning Point USA offices, and left it outside the gates. Also, a lot has been mailed. I mean, it's just unbelievably humbling. But this is all mail. I told them not to throw.
It has nothing to do with the Hispanics going for the whole trans thing. The Hispanics don't like you putting their family out the country and in alligator Alcatraz. They don't like you doing that. Voting for self-deportation is insanity. And I'm pretty sure most of the Hispanic people ain't insane. So they're leaving your party in droves because now they see you either have the purity test of turning away gays, trans, throwing Hispanic people in the alligator Alcatraz, throwing people out of the country blindly. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. I don't know why you all think people want to have that kind of negativity. You Republicans don't stand for nothing. You hate gays, trans, black, brown, immigrants, Islamic people, Muslim people. You hate everything. You don't stand for nothing. You hate everything. You don't stand for nothing. Nobody wants to not stand for anything. That's the whole point. So please, stop. Stop. Don't ask me why black people ain't over there. They're not over there because you guys don't stand for anything. And the independents and the Hispanics are learning that too.
Anything away. I want every single.
They voted for it, and now they can't stand it. Now they can't stand it.
For when, if the day gets hard at your desk, you come into this mailroom, and I want you to come in, and I want you to pick up any of these cards, and I want you to read it, so you can put into perspective why you work here. This is my children's favorite section. This is the section that I tell them that in heaven, Daddy he's orchestrating with his friends to send them little presents so that they never forget that Daddy's watching over them. So whenever I bring the kids here at the office, I always let them grab one thing to play with. But I mean, it's really sweet.
You don't have to believe me. That's all you have to do is believe the polls. You all don't have to believe anything. You don't have to believe anything. Your president is corrupt. everybody is looking at it and saying he's corrupt. We can see that it was corrupt. One of the big cracks was when they had a parade for Charlie's funeral. No, we didn't vote for this. We voted for something else, and we got a whole lot of something else. Nobody looked for people to jump into their rooftop, and come through their house and pull their kids out and put them on the street naked. Nobody voted for people to go to Alligator Alcatraz. Nobody voted for people to be transported overseas into foreign jails. Nobody voted to get these emails leaked and the president comes out and he's friends with a pedo. Nobody voted for any of this. Okay? We voted for something else. We didn't vote for this. And now people are saying, and most people who voted for him were fly-by-night voters. Now those fly-by-night voters are saying, oh, hell no. We don't want none of this garbage. We don't want none of this garbage. You just look at the polls. Your president has a 37% approval rating. That means they can't stand him. That means mostly the majority of the people cannot stand him. This is something you all have to accept.
So you remember I told you that Daddy was working with his friends from heaven to send you presents every day so you always know you're loved? See?
This is Sesame Street.
It is.
Sesame Street.
I know, it's Sesame Street.
You see the goofiness, 63%. You can do your own research and find out that his approval rating is 37%. You see the goofiness that James coming to chat with? I can't with you people because you don't do research. You just be talking.
Street, but all these are for you, baby. These are from Daddy's friends.
Why don't you read this to me?
I'll read it to you.
You told your children that Charlie was going on a work trip with Jesus. Are they still asking, where's Daddy?
Yes, my daughter continues to ask. I told her the other day because she said, I just miss Daddy. And where's Daddy? When is he coming home? And I said, baby, Daddy's still with Jesus. And I said, they are so busy. And I said, if ever you want to talk to Daddy, you just look up to the sky and start talking to him. He can hear you. It's always me. And I told her, I said, you know, Daddy is in heaven. She goes, so does that mean he's in a different house? And I said, yes, baby, he is building a house for us. Some people would say a mansion. She goes, you think I could go sometime? Excuse me. Children are so precious. I said, baby, we will all go one day. We will all go one day. It makes me speechless because it's for the kids. And that's how I can keep telling the kids, you know.
See, that's how I knew you was lying, James. I knew you was lying. His disapproval rating is 63%. This is what you got on there. His disapproval rating is 63%. His approval rating is 37%. That's how I know you're being disingenuous. That's how I know you're lying. That's how I know you're lying. The CNN poll is 63%. They disapprove. His approval rating is 37%, like I said. He's underwater and nobody can stand him.
Daddy's thinking about you and loves you, and all these people. I mean, it's endless, which is amazing. Yes, baby.
The alleged assassin, Tyler Robinson, is eligible for the death penalty if he is found guilty when this trial comes, and what a trial this will be.
It's still not over. There's a trial coming up. The defense wants to ban cameras in the courtroom. How do you feel about that?
You just goofy, James. You just goofy.
There were cameras
you
all
don't know how to
over my
read
husband when
polls.
he was murdered.
You just goofy.
There have been cameras all over my friends and family mourning. There have been cameras all over me, analyzing my every move, analyzing my every smile, my every tear. We deserve to have cameras in there. Why not be transparent? There's nothing to hide. I know there's not, because I've seen what the case is built on. Let everyone see what true evil is. Let everyone see and know how it happened, how it even got to this point. This is something that could impact the generation and generations to come of understanding there is never a justifiable moment for violence, especially political violence. And that's another reason why, too, I've been so open about certain private moments within our family. There's nothing to hide. Let the world see. Let them see.
On the cross, our Savior said, "Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do." That man, that young man, I forgive him.
I don't think people believed her at that moment. It was just too convenient for her to, it was just too convenient. I don't think they believed her at that moment for her saying that. I can't really tell. I can't really tell whether she's acting or she's not. I can't really tell. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. I mean, to some extent, is a little bit of acting. To a certain extent, it is. But I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt that she loved her husband and she wanted what was best for him. That's the only thing I can think. I can't think of, I can't think of anything else. I'm assuming she's a good person.
You shocked a lot of people when you forgave Tyler Robinson. How did you do that?
I remember going over the speech the night before, and there was a portion in there that I remember putting about how Charlie was trying to save the lost boys of the West. He was trying to save the exact type of individual who murdered him. And when I reread that the night before, I thought it just was weighing on my heart. Forgive him. A lot of people in this world think that forgiveness is a weakness, or that when you forgive, you forget. And it's the exact opposite. It's a form of freedom. The enemy stole my husband. And if I didn't forgive, it's more so for me than this man. Because the enemy would have my heart. And I knew that every day the Lord forgives me for things. So he forgives everybody else for things, small, big. And what an example of forgiveness. And it's not easy. It's not easy. It never is easy, but it's freeing. It's so freeing. And again, it's not a weakness, but it's a way for me to be able to say, you'll never get me. You'll never get me.
Would Charlie have forgiven his killer?
He's in heaven. And he sees everything, full picture. And I truly believe that if the Lord, which this does not happen, but if the Lord gave him an option,
right,
to return back to earth, and if the Lord said, this is what your death is going to be the catalyst for, do you want to go back and exchange it? He'd say no.
Wow.
He'd say no.
If convicted, do you think your husband's killer should get the death penalty?
I do not want this man's blood on my ledger when I stand before the Lord. I want the government to decide. It's biblical too. Justice will ultimately be served.
When we return,
this is your first major.
What he wanted, his vision for these events was stadiums. He always wanted them to be massive.
And then she turns up and gives J.D. Vance a really good, nice hug, which turned people against her even further. And that had nothing to do with Democrat or Republican. This was a Republican and a Democrat thing. Thought this was very wife-like, I guess. That her giving J.D. Vance that kind of hug was not a good thing, right? I mean, she gave him the back of the head curb, pull him in, kiss type. And I get it. I do. After he criticized his wife, Ursha, for not changing her religion, I wonder why she don't want to change her religion to Catholic and why he didn't change his to Hindu or what. I mean, did he really find that a point of contention in their marriage? That Ursha doesn't want to change her religion? Wow. But see, it came off of the heels of this when her first appearance came and she grabbed him by the way she grabbed him. This is wild. Yeah. She addressed him as JD, not B. Yeah. It came across as weird.
And he loved them being outside, of course, but for night events, he always had this vision of.
And she got on leather pants and leather shoes. You see how she dressed? You see how she's dressed. She got leather pants, leather boots, tucked in, everything tight. What the hell was going on? What the hell was going on with this look and what she did at this whole thing?
Packing out stadiums. He sent a picture to Tyler on our team of one of the largest university football stadiums and said, "This is the goal."
It is rainy, it is cold, but students here at Ole Miss have been waiting to get into this event for hours now.
Well, you have about 10,000 people out there.
I'm humbled.
Why Ole Miss?
I didn't say I had a problem. I don't have a problem with it at all. This is a problem I'm saying people had with it. I said people had a problem with it. I didn't have a problem with it. It is what it is. She wore what she wore. You know, I wouldn't have wore it, but I don't have anything to say about it. Maybe she was doing something ahead of time. Maybe she had some other prior engagement and that's what she wore. I never thought anything about it until I saw people online having a conniption fit because she had on what she had on. And she grabbed JD like she did. I'm not vilifying her. I just said, I don't care one way or the other.
Well, that was a stop that Charlie had on the list, and him and JD were going back and forth on, which stop they would do, and it just so happened to be this one, and we just wanted to keep everything in motion that Charlie wanted honored from the standpoint of he already had this set up. And so with everything that JD and Isha did for myself and Charlie afterwards, how could you not?
Introducing the vice president tonight, JD Vance. He's really been there for you.
He's a blessing. Him and Isha, they are the most incredible people. Incredible. With such genuine love. I mean, just everything they did for us was so humanized. I mean, they were there for us. They've been there for us.
Your husband's life was taken on a college campus. You're here now on campus. Do you feel safe?
Yes, because I feel Charlie with me here.
You feel Charlie here right now.
I know you do too.
I feel him too. Well, God bless you.
Jesse here.
And God bless Turning Point USA.
The next speaker is a very, very special speaker, and she has had a heroic last year, and I believe she's the best mom in the world. Truly the best mom in the world. She is my hero and the love of my life. Join me in welcoming Erika Kirk.
The movement didn't die with Charlie. It's getting bigger. Half of the campus is here right now. This place is at capacity. You can feel the energy.
And that's good. That's amazing. It's an amazing point. But there's some things that need to be corrected, and there's some things that need to be, pointed out. Charlie had very controversial views about what he thought about his place in society. He didn't think he had any kind of white privilege, and most white people don't think they have white privilege. And he specifically had it because this country was built for white men. And so they don't see the peons or the rest of us that are down here that struggle to get equality all the time. So I question, his thoughts about that. Erika, I can't really tell her feelings about most things. Most of her feelings were expressed here about what she thought about Charlie and not really her own thoughts. So it is what it is. But it's a religious thing, I guess. Not a lot of people are going to join it. We feel like maybe it might be a cult. Who knows what it is? Nobody knows what it is. I'm not a religious person like that, so I would never join a thing like that. I don't need guidance. I'm not a person that needs religion to guide me because I've always been a moral and an upright person. So some people need things to help guide them in this world. It just is what it is. And it's a movement for people.
Charlie's murder might seem like we're standing in a shadow, as if death was the victory meant for the enemy, but looking around in this arena, you are proof that this light of truth burns so brightly.
Yeah, but it does work when you walk into a bank. You and I walk into a bank, they're going to give you a loan quicker than they're going to give me one, Jeb. That's when your white privilege works just fine.
Carrying on Charlie's legacy, Vice President Vance debated students with different viewpoints, repeatedly encouraging them to come to the front of the line.
Because we want to talk to people we agree with. We also want to hear from people we disagree with.
I did not agree with many of the things that you said right ahead of this.
I see there's a big line, and I hope I can get to everybody's question.
I have a girlfriend who's studying in America off a visa. So what is your view on legal immigration?
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate the question. And look, my honest view.
And see, that's another thing. When we have the people saying, I want to kick people out of the country because they come from a different country. I mean, this country was built on immigrants and immigrants coming here. Now they feel vilified, and this was terrible. It's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing that we have this in our country. Just terrible.
Is that right now America, thanks in part to the Biden border invasion, but also thanks in part to
my parents gave me more. I follow my parents' morals of what's right and wrong. Now I base it on what feels right for me, what's right or wrong for me. I have my own arrow. I don't have religion to steer me in any direction one way or the other. I have no thought of religion and how I base my life. I'm just a good person naturally, and most people can be good people. Some of y'all need religion. I don't need religion. I don't need a Bible. I just don't have a relationship with God, not like that. So, and most of the time, all the choices I've made in my life have been very good. Married for over 30 years, 5 children, none of them are in jail. never been to jail, never been to prison, never did drugs, never drank alcohol, never needed to have religion.
To a lot of bad immigration policy. Right now, we have let in too many immigrants into the United States of America. That is just a fundamental reality.
The next day, Erika was back in Phoenix.
Last night was amazing. Yeah. Yes. I don't think I could ever put into words. I mean, obviously, that was my first campus. I mean, if I'd done a campus event, it was sitting, next to Shirley. I mean, I always got it. I always supported him for everything, but now to see it. Oh, there was a point where I couldn't even catch my breath. Like before we went on stage, and they played that video.
I know.
That intro video.
I had to
to hear my husband say,
She is my hero and the love of my life, Erika Kirk.
she's the love of my life.
Yeah.
So when we first started dating, I asked him, I was like, why don't you wear a cross? He's like, why? You say you're a Christian, but you don't wear a cross. He's like, I don't know. I'm not a jewelry guy. And I was like, I understand. So for his first birthday present, I got him this cross. And then throughout time, I would always add different medals to it. And so he loved St. Michael. And so, every time he'd put this on, he just felt like it was his armor.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really sweet.
She not gonna let that business go by the wayside. She understands the dynamic of that. She always has to be involved with that business. One thing I haven't seen was, where's Charlie Kirk's family? Where's his mother and father? His mother and father are not alive, or I mean, where are all of those people at? Brothers and sisters. He didn't have any brothers and sisters. What's going on with that? I just didn't understand. Why you never saw any of those people? Those people never came out of the woodwork. Never saw them. Mom, dad, brothers and sisters, nothing. None of them.
Turning Point headquarters has grown from 1 building to 6, and the construction is not slowing down. On this day, like many, students are out in full force volunteering to help in any way they can.
Can somebody tell me what's the point of Turning Point USA? What was the point of Turning Point USA? What is their point? Is to turn every person into a Catholic, or what was it? What was the point of Turning Point USA? I don't understand. Because they're going to be defeating themselves. It's a futile effort if you're trying to turn everybody into a Catholic. It's a futile thing.
This is only a portion of the team.
Mm-hmm.
There's, 50 people in here?
Hi, guys. So this is a portion. Every building you'll see, the staff is family. They're amazing. But what's so special, and people would say to Charlie, everyone's so young. He would say, I don't care if they went to college. Tell me what you're passionate about. Tell me what you care about. Why do you love this country? And so that didn't mean anything to him. He wanted people who were bought into the mission, and no one's left. No one's been fired. No, there's been no rivalry. There's been no coup. There's been no internal takeover. Everyone's a family. And it's a testament to what Charlie built and how he hired.
Just about anyone you ask here says they feel Charlie's presence around them all the time.
When people lose someone they love, oftentimes they say, I can still talk to them.
Yeah.
Do you still talk to Charlie?
No, they don't pray for me because I don't have a moral foundation. You have no basis in which to believe that. I have plenty of moral foundation. It's just not the foundation that you like. So that's the problem. It doesn't have to be what you like. It has to be what I like and what I live with. Don't run around saying I don't have a moral foundation. You don't have a moral foundation if you feel as though my foundation has to be yours. Let's get that straight. Yours is different from mine, and never the twain shall meet. Don't run around telling people they don't have a moral foundation unless they say they don't have a moral foundation. I never said that, and you don't put that on me.
I'll get home, it's late at night, and I'll be getting ready for bed in the bathroom. I'll keep looking in the shower, trying to see. He would always write on the shower when he was in there. He would write numbers and things, and at the end, he would do his signature at the end. Obviously, it's been so long since he's taken a shower at home, but I still look for it. I talk to him all the time. I'll say, baby, just give me your wisdom. Speak to me. People would say, if you can't sleep, take something to sleep. The Lord has let me sleep just fine. But I don't want to take anything. That's not how we operate. If I take anything, it'll numb me from being able to hear from the Lord. And for Charlie, I want to be able to talk to him. I want to feel this so deeply, so that I know how the Lord wants to use it. And if I'm numb to that, he can't use me. But I talk to him all the time. Charlie, what do you think of this? Can you believe this happened today? Gigi said hi. And I realized that's healing. You don't ever want to stop talking about the people that you love, even though they're in heaven, especially to your babies, because that means that they're still there. I always want my husband's voice and his name to be on people's lips. He's a good man.
Well, the next time you talk to Charlie, please tell him we love him. And Erika, we love you. And thank you so much.
God bless you.
God bless you too.
Oh. A wife. It was an interesting take on her loving her husband instead of him being the hated and reviled person that some people found him to be. I mean, I just thought he was misguided in his thought. I think maybe he was just controversial just to be controversial. I believe he said things to be just out there. It is what it is. That's how some people do it. Some people I'm not saying he didn't believe the things he believed. I'm just saying some of the stuff was so wildly outrageous that it was weird, and it is what it is. And somebody said, I meant to address this one thing. You can have, and I can have a moral foundation without being religious. Let's be clear, okay? You all hit the like button and the subscribe and the share. We have this content like every day. We have something every day that we come out and we talk about. And this is what we're talking about today. A lot of people can build morality on human-based and secular foundations rather than a religious belief. A lot of us do. I did. Okay? I did. It is just the way that I am. Secular morality. But that's for another time, another day, right? Nobody has to be religious if they don't want to be. As I stated, some of y'all need guidance like that. I didn't need guidance like that. Okay, specifically he was a very nice guy. He was still a very nice guy. He was a very nice guy to some of you guys, yes. To some of you all, he was a very nice guy. To the rest of us, he wasn't a very nice guy. Because of some of the things that he said, some of the thoughts he had. Okay? My understanding was he said he made talking points and they were wrong. Some of the talking points were wrong. And some of the things I looked up that he said, he was wrong in what he said. So, maybe he was just misguided. I don't know. I don't understand the whole thing, but outrageous. Something called 1350. That was outrageous because that was debunked by the FBI. And 50% crime or whatever, that 50% crime, it wasn't committed 50% crime. It was 50% arrested. Arrested and actually doing the crime, two different things. So it is what it is. So that was a misleading statement that he made, right? And 13%, it's not 13% because not all of us commit crime. And it's very small percentage of us who do. Okay. So it is what it is. Yeah. Oh, just because I don't agree doesn't mean it's not right. I don't agree. I can only go by statistics. I don't know anything about right or wrong. I just go by statistics. If you say 15% of the people commit 50% of the crime and you don't have anything to back that up, then you're either disingenuous or you're lying. And he used to say that all the time. But the real truth is, you go to the FBI statistics, and the FBI statistics says 13% of the people, we're all 13%. Of course, black people are 13% of the population, but only 50% get arrested. 50% get arrested for X, Y, and Z. Not 50% commit the crimes like he used to say. 50% get arrested. Arrested and actually being convicted. Two totally different things. So therefore, yes, he knew what those statistics were, and he put those statistics out there as a lie. Okay? So the whole point is you go to the FBI statistics. Don't talk to me about it. I don't know anything about it. All I know is I looked that particular statistic up, and that's what the FBI criminal labs came up with. That's what their stats came up with. 13% of the people get 50% of the arrests. That doesn't mean crime. Okay? So it is what it is. And that's not it. Okay. So I'm just gonna go by what the FBI said. I'm not going by what you said. You can get into your feelings, but that's not what the FBI said. FBI said 50%, 13% of the people, black people, commit 50% of the arrests, have 50% of the arrests, not 50% of the crime, not 50% of the murders, none of that. No, I don't want to hear about committing crimes on the street. I listen to the statistics. That's the only basis that you can base things on. You can't base things on your emotional responses. I don't base things on emotional responses. I base things on statistics. Just like statistics say the most I'm not even going to get into that. Just go to get the statistics. Don't talk to me about what I see on the street. What I see on the street is not what I hear in the news. Because I can walk down any street anywhere and not run into any kind of issue or any kind of problem. So if I can do that, then I know the statistic that people be spouting on here are lies. I go by the FBI statistics. I don't go by what you say in your emotional responses. Okay? Because you don't live in Chicago, you don't live here and there, so you can't really say that those things are true. Okay? So would you all please hit the like, share, and subscribe button? We have this content like every day. We have this content, weird subjects, maybe people, maybe things. You never know what we run into. Okay, might be some news tomorrow. I think I'm gonna do something on Venezuela because it looks like we're ramping up to invade Venezuela. So I might have something on the Venezuela piece and see what's going on there. I appreciate you all. Please hit the like and share and subscribe button. I appreciate all of that. Okay, I appreciate all of that. And love is starting to no, people. That's people. Those are anecdotal. Those are anecdotal stories. Those are not statistics. Okay. When you go and you get 3, 4, 5 different statistics and they say something different, and then my friend runs into my face and says, no, Kamala put all of those people in jail. My friends went to jail because Kamala put them in jail. No, I'm not. I tend to believe the statistics, what's on paper. I'm not going to believe you and your buddies. So it is what it is, right? And the one statistic that Charlie used to run around and say, 13% of the population commits 50% of the crime, was a flat out lie. Charlie knew it was a lie. Okay? Otherwise, why would you continue to say it when people confronted you about it and told you it was a lie, but you kept saying it. You kept saying it for the propaganda. You kept saying it for the hype that it gave. And then I know that half of y'all on here are zombies because you believed it. Because I can hear people spouting it all around. Because you believe it. Instead of going to the statistic, the actual statistics, actual paperwork, the actual people who have knowledge of these things, and instead of going to them, you're gonna believe your friend instead of going to the paperwork. Just because people say it on here 30, 40, 50 times doesn't mean it's true. Okay? Just like I hear people say, you traditional marriage is the way to go. No, it's not. Because most people are not traditional. So traditional has not been working. So that's not true. So I don't listen to people that be on here talking about traditional marriage is the way to go. Because that doesn't work. Because we're having divorce rates high as hell. It's gone down, but most of us are getting divorced. So apparently that tradition ain't working. Okay? No. I don't believe in anecdotal things. I believe in the statistics. I believe in what the statistics are from the mayors and the governors and the White House, if they have the FBI and they have statistics, and DOJ, those kind of people. I believe in those kind of statistics. I don't believe in my friend told me that they got killers running the streets. I don't believe that. It could be true. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying I don't believe it until I see it on paper. So it is what it is. But please, you all hit the like, the share, the subscribe. I appreciate it. I appreciate all that you all do and come over. We will be back here tomorrow. We definitely will be back here tomorrow. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you guys.